Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So we finally learned who that mystery new Flash is. So this is just going to be a breakdown of what the producers have said in his story from the comics. There's also a whole bunch of other really awesome news. So since I made my Flash trailer video, they actually came out and said who this is. The producers revealed he's Todd Lesance from Vampire Diaries, playing a version of the Rival. But very clearly, he looks like he's from the Wally West era, just his costume is much more modern looking. He's young. But a lot of you who read the comics know that the Rival is Edward Claris, the Jay Garrick era Reverse Flash. In fact, that version of the Reverse Flash wore a yellow and red costume, just like Eobard Thawne ended up doing much later. So if you've seen some of the things that the TV show has done the last few seasons by mixing and matching parts of people's backstories with plot elements from more recent things in the comics, then you kind of have an idea of what they're doing with the Rival on the TV show. So he is not the big bad, he's just like the mid bad. Savitar is the big bad of the season, so much worse, the things that he'll be doing. This character, the Rival, might be connected to Savitar's speed cult, but I'm guessing for the most part he'll have his own evil plan he's trying to bring to fruition. And what I'm hoping is that we see a lot of crosstalk with Jay Garrick from Earth 3. Now, John Wesley Shipp appears in the trailer that I posted last night, but that could be the Henry Allen, that could be Jay Garrick wearing plain clothes. Since Barry is not really close to Joe anymore, Flashpoint Joe isn't friends with Barry, he needs someone that can be an advisor. So they said that's kind of what Jay Garrick is going to do this season. When he pops up every once in a while, he'll just offer Barry advice, as Jay Garrick of the comics does with the younger versions of the Flash, like Wally West, Barry Allen. He's been the Flash a lot longer, so some of these other villains he may have run into. We don't really know how long Savitar's been around and which modern plot elements they're going to use from the comics for the Rival, because in the classic version of the comics, the Edward Claris Rival created Velocity 9, but they used Velocity 9 during Season 2 for the Zoom plot, so most of what the Rival is doing on the TV show, if it is very comic booky, a comic book plot, I'm expecting to come from the more modern Wally West era, because that's where most of Savitar's stuff is coming from. In fact, I'm really interested to see how much Deep Space Nine stuff they end up doing, because if you've seen Deep Space Nine, you kind of remember that Gul Dukat tried to ascend to godhood with the help of evil wormhole aliens, the Paw Wraiths, and they were going to kill the good wormhole aliens. So on the Flash TV show, we've met the Speed Force wormhole aliens. Maybe Savitar is trying to become one with them like he is in the comics. Maybe they're just doing a carbon copy of his comic book plot. Or maybe it's more Deep Space Nine and we'll see like the negative Speed Force, because that is something from the comics, but they'll weave that in Paw Wraith style from Deep Space Nine, and they'll try to kill off these good Speed Force wormhole aliens. But make no mistake, Savitar, what he ends up doing will be way worse than what the Rival ends up doing. So like the Rival looks like a character who's just gonna like walk up and punch you in the face. That sucks. But Savitar looks like someone who's going to try and poison the source of all your power. So imagine all the good speedsters and all the evil speedsters drink from the Fountain of Youth, like they gain some secret power from the secret fountain. Savitar is trying to poison the fountain. So it is a really good excuse for all the evil speedsters that we've seen to team up with the good speedsters. But there's so much more going on. They're taking a more Game of Thrones style approach with their TV narrative, where you have like a bunch of big characters, but you don't see all of them every single episode. So like you see Jon Snow in a couple Game of Thrones episodes, but then you go away and you see a different group of characters. So I'm just expecting them to do that with some of their big characters they're bringing on. Like you have the rogues like Captain Cold. They've been teasing a Mirror Master versus Captain Cold rogue war this season, but clearly it's not going to happen in every single episode. So you'll have like this really big thing going on with the rogues in a couple episodes, then they'll go away, then slightly bigger storyline, the Rival will come on, do something, then he'll go away for a few episodes, we'll pick up with Savitar. Of all the plots that I'm expecting to extend to the back half of the season, I think there'll be the Rival in the Savitar plot. The Savitar plot will be like one of the few that goes across the entire season. But like Gorilla City, that's another good example. That's probably going to be a relatively self-contained 2-part episode just because it's really expensive. All that CG that they're going to have to do, they'll probably introduce Solovar. So just think about the way Game of Thrones plots its episodes out. Like you have big plots, then you have micro plots that only go over a couple episodes. They'll be doing that way more this season, which I think will be a lot more fun. Like they'll tee up a big arc with the rogues, they'll resolve that relatively quickly, and then they'll come back later. The same thing will happen with the Rival. The slow burn will be Savitar. Like, you get a tease for the Speed Cult, Then we'll slowly learn about what he looks like, who he is, what his backstory is. Then we get to the back half when we refocus on that, where it's like Team Flash versus Savitar and his speed cult. So if you want to do some homework for The Flash, I would actually recommend you go back and read some Mark Waid era Wally West comics. But as with all things, they tend to change comic book plots, they mix and match names, so whenever we get to episodes, I'll just explain like what they're doing, like, okay, the rival here, he created Velocity 9, he's from the Golden Age, but what he's doing on the TV show is from the Wally West era of the comics. So it's going to be really fun to try and pick all the Easter eggs out. I'm really happy about this season so far. Let me know in the comments though, what do you think that the rival's plan is this season, and do you think that he is connected to Savitar's speed cult, or do you think he's going to be completely separate? There is a giveaway that's been going on now. I'll say congratulations to Parrish. You win this round. It's a $20 Amazon gift card. Please be sure to private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. Because there's so much DC stuff dropping, they'll be dropping more trailers soon. I'm just going to keep the giveaway going. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. So get hyped. There'll probably be some Thor stuff later tonight. There was this picture of Odin. Looks like he clocked a lot of city miles since Thor the Dark World. They just announced they're doing a live-action Justice League movie in the DC Cinematic Universe. So like I've been doing a lot of Justice League videos, this will connect to those movies. It's part of that universe. And they announced that Dan Harmon is punching up the Doctor Strange script, adding scenes, so they are going to Cronenberg the shit out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you haven't seen Rick and Morty, be sure to watch Rick and Morty, because the Marvel and DC movie universes are going out of control in the best possible way. There's also a new Arrow trailer video for Season 5, so a whole bunch of videos. I'll try to get them all out as fast as possible. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for that Flash trailer video again, and you can click here to learn all about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.